Welcome to the South on Leadership podcast, where we have real conversations about leadership, growth, purpose, and what it takes to become the kind of leader others can trust. This is the Next in Line series. And if you are already leading, preparing for your next opportunity, building a team, growing through a new season, or trying to become the type of person who can carry more responsibility, this series is for you. Today's episode is called The Mindset of the Next in Line. Before anyone gives you the title, before anyone opens the door, before anyone announces your name, before anyone says, you are ready, there has to be a shift inside of you. You have to start thinking like the leader you are becoming before the world fully recognizes you as one. A lot of people are waiting for permission. They are waiting for the promotion. They are waiting for the perfect timing. They are waiting until they feel confident enough, experienced enough, educated enough, polished enough, or prepared enough. But leadership rarely begins when everything feels perfect. More often, leadership begins when something inside of you says, I may not have everything figured out yet, but I am willing to grow into the responsibility. That is the mindset of the next in line. The next in line is not someone who sits back and complains because they have not been chosen yet. The next in line is not someone who feels entitled to leadership without being willing to develop the character required to carry it. The next in line is not someone who only wants the spotlight, the position, or the applause. The next in line is someone who is preparing, someone who is watching, someone who is learning, someone who is serving, someone who is becoming. And that is where leadership really begins, not with a title, not with a business card, not with an office, not with a microphone. Leadership begins with mindset. So today, we are going to talk about what it means to think, prepare, and grow like the next leader in line. Segment 1. Leadership starts before the title. Let's begin here. Leadership starts before the title. That may sound simple, but it is one of the most important truths any emerging leader can understand. A title can give you authority, but it cannot give you character. A position can give you visibility, but it cannot give you discipline. A promotion can give you responsibility, but it cannot give you maturity. Those things have to be developed before the opportunity arrives. A lot of people think, once I get the position, then I will start acting like a leader. But that is backwards. You do not become a leader because someone hands you a title. You become a leader because you have been developing the mindset, habits, and character that make people willing to trust you. The title may give people a reason to report to you, but your character gives people a reason to believe in you. The title may give you a seat at the table, but your preparation determines whether you add value once you get there. The title may put you in charge, but your mindset determines whether people feel safe, challenged, inspired, and supported under your leadership. There are people right now waiting to be promoted who have not yet learned how to show up with excellence where they already are. There are people waiting for more influence who have not yet been faithful with the influence they currently have. There are people waiting for bigger rooms who have not mastered how to contribute in the room they are already in. And that is the challenge. Leadership starts now. It starts in how you show up today. It starts in how you respond when no one is watching. It starts in how you handle small responsibilities. It starts in whether people can trust you with little before they trust you with much. It starts in how you carry yourself before the announcement, before the email goes out, before the promotion is official, before the opportunity becomes public. Because here is the truth. The season before leadership is not wasted time. It is preparation time. That season is shaping you. It is testing your patience. It is revealing your motives. It is developing your discipline. It is showing you where you still need to grow. It is showing others whether you are someone who can be counted on. And sometimes that season can feel frustrating. You may feel like you are ready. You may feel like you have been overlooked. You may feel like people do not see what you bring to the table. You may feel like someone else got the opportunity you wanted. But even in that season, the next in line has to be careful, because how you handle being overlooked says a lot about how you will handle being elevated. How you handle correction says a lot about how you will handle authority. How you handle someone else's success says a lot about how you will handle your own. How you handle waiting says a lot about how you will handle leading. The next in line understands that preparation is not punishment. Preparation is protection. It protects you from stepping into something too soon. It protects the people you will one day lead. It protects your influence. It protects your future. So the question is not just, when will someone make me a leader? The better question is, am I already becoming someone worth following? That question changes everything. Segment 2, waiting versus preparing. There is a big difference between waiting and preparing. Waiting is passive. Preparing is active. Waiting says, I will step up when someone asks me. Preparing says, I will grow now so I am ready when the opportunity comes. Waiting says, that is not my job. Preparing says, how can I add value from where I am? Waiting says, I need the title first. Preparing says, I can lead through attitude, effort, ownership, and example right now. Waiting says, they should notice me. Preparing says, I will become consistent whether they notice me or not. Waiting often leads to frustration. Preparing leads to growth. And this is where many future leaders get stuck. They think leadership begins later. Later, when the company promotes them. Later, when someone gives them a team. Later, when they have more experience. Later, when they feel more confident. Later, when the timing is better. But later is built by what you do now. The leader you become later is being formed by the habits you practice now. The confidence you need later is being built by the courage you show now. The wisdom you need later is being developed by the lessons you learn now. The trust you need later is being earned by the consistency you show now. So do not underestimate your current season. Maybe you are not in the role you want yet. Maybe you are not leading the size of team you hope to lead one day. Maybe you are still learning. Maybe you are still making mistakes. Maybe you are still figuring out your voice. That is okay. The next in line is not perfect. The next in line is preparing. Preparation looks like asking better questions. It looks like studying leaders around you. It looks like volunteering for responsibility without needing applause. It looks like listening more than you talk. It looks like taking feedback seriously. It looks like building emotional maturity. It looks like learning how to solve problems instead of just pointing them out. It looks like showing up on time. It looks like following through. It looks like honoring your word. It looks like being dependable when the task is small, because small tasks reveal big things. How you handle the small assignment says something about how you may handle the larger assignment. How you handle the private responsibility says something about how you may handle the public one. How you handle being part of the team says something about how you may handle leading the team. This is why preparation matters. A person who is only waiting may become bitter. A person who is preparing becomes better. And those are two very different paths. Segment 3, the mindset shift. The next in line has to make a mindset shift. Actually, several mindset shifts. The first shift is from, I hope they notice me, to, I will become undeniable through consistency. Now, let's be careful with that word, undeniable. This is not about ego. It is not about forcing yourself into rooms. It is not about trying to prove you are better than everyone else. It is about becoming so consistent, so dependable, so thoughtful, so prepared, and so committed to growth that your leadership becomes visible through your actions. Not because you keep telling people you are ready, but because your behavior keeps showing it. Another shift is from, I want more responsibility, to, I will be faithful with the responsibility I already have. That one matters because sometimes people want more before they have honored what is already in their hands. They want a bigger platform, but they are careless with the current assignment. They want more influence, but they do not use their current influence well. They want a leadership role, but they avoid leadership behavior. The next in line says, before I ask for more, let me examine how I am handling what I already have. Another shift is from, I need people to believe in me, to, I need to build the habits that make me believable. That is powerful because belief is connected to evidence. People believe in leaders when they see patterns. They see how you respond under pressure. They see how you treat people. They see whether you follow through. They see whether you take ownership. They see where you are humble enough to learn. They see whether you are consistent. You cannot demand trust. You build it. You cannot demand credibility. You earn it. You cannot demand leadership influence. You develop it over time. The next in line understands that leadership is not just about wanting the next level. It is about becoming the kind of person who can carry the next level without being crushed by it. Because the next level always comes with weight. More responsibility means more pressure. More visibility means more accountability. More influence means more impact, both positive and negative. More leadership means more people are affected by your decisions, your attitude, your communication, and your example. That is why mindset matters. If you step into leadership with an immature mindset, the role may expose you. If you step into leadership with an entitled mindset, the role may frustrate you. If you step into leadership with an ego-driven mindset, the role may isolate you. If you step into leadership with a serving mindset, a learning mindset, and a growth mindset, the role can develop you and help others grow through you. So let's ask a few hard questions. How do you respond when you do not get your way? How do you respond when someone gives you feedback you did not ask for? How do you respond when another person gets praised? How do you respond when you are given a task that feels beneath you? How do you respond when you are under pressure? How do you respond when you are not included? How do you respond when you make a mistake? How do you respond when nobody claps? Those moments reveal mindset, and leadership is often revealed in moments that seem small. Hush Hush Segment 4, Ownership, is the language of leaders. One of the strongest marks of the next in line is ownership. Ownership is the ability to say, I am responsible for my part. It does not mean everything is your fault. It does not mean you carry blame that does not belong to you. It does not mean you allow people to take advantage of you. But ownership does mean you stop giving your power away through excuses. Ownership asks, what can I learn? What can I improve? What part of this belongs to me? What can I do differently next time? What action can I take? Leaders who do not practice ownership often become experts in blame. They blame the manager. They blame the team. They blame the timing. They blame the process. They blame the culture. They blame the customer. They blame the economy. They blame the meeting. They blame the email. And sure, sometimes there are real problems around you. Sometimes leadership above you is unclear. Sometimes systems are broken. Sometimes people are difficult. Sometimes circumstances are unfair. But even then, the next in line asks, what is still within my control? That is ownership. You may not control every decision, but you can control your preparation. You may not control every opportunity, but you can control your growth. You may not control every person's opinion, but you can control your character. You may not control the timing, but you can control your consistency. You may not control the room, but you can control what you bring into the room. Ownership is powerful because it moves you from complaint to contribution. Instead of saying, why does no one fix this? Ownership says, what solution can I help create? Instead of saying, they do not communicate well. Ownership says, how can I communicate clearly from where I am? Instead of saying, no one is developing me. Ownership says, what can I do to seek growth, feedback, mentorship, and learning? The next in line does not wait for perfect conditions to grow. The next in line takes responsibility for growth even in imperfect conditions. That kind of ownership gets noticed. Maybe not immediately, maybe not by everyone, but it builds something inside of you that no one can take away. It builds maturity. It builds confidence. It builds discipline. It builds resilience. And it prepares you for leadership that is not dependent on comfort. Because real leadership will not always be comfortable. There will be hard conversations. There will be unclear situations. There will be people who misunderstand you. There will be decisions that carry consequences. There will be seasons where you have to keep showing up even when you are tired. Ownership helps you stay grounded. It reminds you, I may not control everything, but I am not powerless. That is a leadership mindset. Hush Hush Segment 5. Humility keeps you teachable. Another mark of the next in line is humility. Now, humility is often misunderstood. Humility does not mean thinking less of yourself. It means having an accurate view of yourself. It means you can recognize your strengths without becoming arrogant. It means you can admit your weaknesses without becoming insecure. It means you can receive feedback without falling apart. It means you can learn from people at every level. Humility keeps you teachable, and teachability is essential for leadership. The moment you become too proud to learn, you become dangerous to lead, because leadership requires growth. The problems change. The people change. The expectations change. The tools change. The marketplace changes. The culture changes. The technology changes. The needs of your team change. So if you are not teachable, you become stuck. And stuck leaders eventually create stuck teams. The next in line says, I have gifts, but I still have growth. I have experience, but I still need wisdom. I have ideas, but I still need perspective. I have confidence, but I still need correction. That mindset creates room for development. One of the greatest signs of humility is how you respond to feedback. Feedback is not always easy to hear. Sometimes it feels uncomfortable. Sometimes it feels personal. Sometimes it exposes something you did not see. But feedback can be one of the greatest gifts in your leadership development. A person who cannot receive feedback cannot be fully developed because they are protecting their ego more than they are pursuing growth. The next in line learns to ask, what part of this feedback is useful? What can I learn from this? Is there a pattern I need to pay attention to? Is there a blind spot being revealed? And even when feedback is not delivered perfectly, a humble leader can still look for the lesson. That does not mean every criticism is correct. It does not mean you accept every opinion as true. But it does mean you do not dismiss feedback just because it is uncomfortable. Humility also shows up in how you treat people. Do you treat people differently based on what they can do for you? Are you kind to leaders but dismissive toward peers? Are you respectful upward but impatient downward? Do you listen only when someone has a title? Leadership humility means every person has dignity. Every person deserves respect. Every person can teach you something. That kind of humility builds trust, and trust is one of the greatest foundations of leadership. Segment 6. Consistency builds credibility. The next in line must also practice consistency. Consistency is not exciting, but it is powerful. Consistency means people do not have to guess which version of you is going to show up today. Are you dependable? Are you steady? Are you prepared? Are you emotionally consistent? Are your values visible in your behavior? Can people count on you? Consistency builds credibility because people trust patterns. They may be impressed by talent, but they trust consistency. They may notice charisma, but they depend on consistency. They may enjoy your ideas, but they follow your consistency. If you are only excellent sometimes, people may hesitate to trust you with more. If you only follow through when the task interests you, people may question your reliability. If your attitude changes dramatically based on your mood, people may become cautious around you. If your standards shift depending on who is watching, people may wonder who you really are. Consistency is a leadership message. It says, you can count on me. It says, my word matters. It says, I take responsibility seriously. It says, I do not need perfect conditions to show up with excellence. Now, consistency does not mean you never have a bad day. You are human. You will get tired. You will feel pressure. You will make mistakes. You will have moments when you need support. But consistency means your overall pattern is trustworthy. People know your values. People know your work ethic. People know your character. People know your commitment. People know that when you miss it, you will own it. That is credibility. And credibility matters because leadership requires trust before it requires strategy. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if people do not trust you, they will not fully follow you. Consistency is one of the ways trust is built. Not in one big dramatic moment, but in small repeated moments over time. Showing up, following through, preparing well, speaking honestly, owning mistakes, keeping your word, doing the right thing even when no one is watching. That is how the next in line becomes ready. Segment 7, service, is the heart of leadership. Let's talk about service, because if your desire to lead is disconnected from service, you need to examine your motive. Leadership is not just about being seen. It is not just about being in charge. It is not just about having influence. It is not just about making decisions. Leadership is about responsibility for people, purpose, and progress. The next in line understands that leadership is not above service. Leadership is service. A leader serves by creating clarity. A leader serves by removing obstacles. A leader serves by developing people. A leader serves by telling the truth. A leader serves by making hard decisions for the good of the mission. A leader serves by protecting culture. A leader serves by listening. A leader serves by helping others grow. This does not mean the leader has no authority. This does not mean the leader avoids accountability. This does not mean the leader lets everyone do whatever they want. Servant leadership is not weak leadership. It is strong leadership with the right motive. It says, I am not here to use people for my success. I am here to help people succeed in the mission we share. That is powerful. People can feel when a leader is only interested in themselves. They can feel when a leader uses people as stepping stones. They can feel when a leader wants credit more than impact. But people can also feel when a leader genuinely cares. They can feel when a leader wants them to grow. They can feel when a leader is invested in their development. They can feel when a leader is willing to do hard things for the right reasons. The next in line should start serving before the title arrives. Serve your team. Serve your peers. Serve your organization. Serve the mission. Serve the people who need your encouragement, your excellence, your ideas, your support, and your example. Do not wait until you are officially in charge to start making things better. Find a way to contribute now. That is leadership. Segment 8. The danger of entitlement. Now we have to talk about something uncomfortable. Entitlement. Entitlement is one of the biggest enemies of the next in line. Entitlement says, I deserve more even if I have not developed more. Entitlement says, they owe me an opportunity. Entitlement says, I should be leading because I want to lead. Entitlement says, I should not have to prove myself. Entitlement says, that task is beneath me. But leadership is not given to satisfy ego. Leadership is entrusted to people who can carry responsibility. The next in line has to be careful not to confuse desire with readiness. You can want leadership and still need development. You can be talented and still need maturity. You can have ideas and still need discipline. You can have passion and still need patience. You can have potential and still need preparation. Potential is valuable, but potential still has to be developed. A seed has potential, but it still has to grow roots. A student has potential, but they still have to learn. An athlete has potential, but they still have to train. An emerging leader has potential, but they still have to be formed. Entitlement resists formation. It wants the result without the process. It wants the stage without the preparation. It wants authority without accountability. It wants influence without humility. But the next in line chooses a different path. The next in line says, I am willing to be developed. I am willing to learn. I am willing to serve. I am willing to be corrected. I am willing to wait with purpose. I am willing to grow before I go. That mindset is rare. And because it is rare, it stands out. Hashash segment 9, preparing in private. Some of the most important leadership development happens in private. Private preparation matters. The books you read, the notes you take, the questions you ask, the habits you build, the way you reflect on your mistakes, the way you study people who lead well, the way you pray, think, plan, journal, or process your growth, the way you discipline yourself when no one is forcing you. Private preparation creates public strength. A lot of people want public influence, but they have no private foundation. That is risky. Because when the pressure comes, the foundation is revealed. If the private foundation is weak, public pressure can expose cracks. But when you have been preparing privately, you can stand more firmly publicly. So what does private preparation look like? It can look like studying leadership. Not just scrolling quotes, but really studying. Reading books. Listening to conversations, learning from mentors, observing leaders in action, asking why certain decisions worked or failed. Private preparation can look like self-reflection. At the end of the day, ask, how did I show up today? What did I do well? Where did I react instead of respond? Where did I miss an opportunity to lead? What do I need to repair? What do I need to practice tomorrow? Private preparation can look like skill building. Maybe you need to get better at communication. Maybe you need to improve your emotional intelligence. Maybe you need to learn strategy. Maybe you need to understand finances. Maybe you need to strengthen time management. Maybe you need to learn how to coach people. Maybe you need to get more comfortable with conflict. Do not wait until the role requires the skill to start building the skill. Build now. Private preparation can also look like character development because leadership will test your character. Can you tell the truth? Can you keep your word? Can you handle pressure? Can you stay humble? Can you admit when you are wrong? Can you forgive? Can you make decisions that are right even when they are not popular? These things matter. A leader's gift may open the door, but character determines whether they can remain healthy in the room. Prepare in private. The private work is not wasted. It is building the person who will be needed when the opportunity arrives. Segment 10. The next in line develops others. Here is another important truth. The next in line is not only preparing to lead. The next in line is already helping others grow. Leadership is never just about your own advancement. If your leadership journey is only about you, your vision is too small. The next in line should be asking, who can I encourage? Who can I support? Who can I teach? Who can I help prepare? Who can I make room for? Because healthy leaders develop leaders. Even before you have a formal title, you can be someone who strengthens others. You can share knowledge. You can encourage a teammate. You can help someone understand a process. You can give credit. You can invite someone into a conversation. You can help create a culture where others feel seen and valued. That is leadership. The best leaders are not threatened by the growth of others. They are excited by it. They understand that leadership is not a limited resource. Helping someone else grow does not make you smaller. It makes the mission stronger. If you want to be the next in line, pay attention to how you treat the people who are coming behind you. Are you helping them? Are you mentoring them? Are you encouraging them? Are you making things easier to understand? Are you sharing what you have learned? Are you creating space? Because one day, when you step into leadership, you will need to develop people. Start practicing now. # segment 11, reflection moment. Let's pause and bring this home, because this episode is not just information, it is an invitation. An invitation to examine your mindset, an invitation to prepare differently, an invitation to stop waiting passively and start growing intentionally. So here are a few reflection questions. You may want to write these down. Question 1, where am I waiting when I should be preparing? That is a big one. Where have you been saying, when they give me the chance, then I will step up? And what would it look like to step up now in a healthy and humble way? Question 2. What responsibility am I avoiding because I do not yet have the title? Sometimes people use the absence of a title as an excuse to avoid leadership behavior, but there may be ways you can contribute, support, solve, encourage, and improve things right where you are. Question 3. Who already experiences me as a leader, even without a formal role? This matters because leadership is often recognized by impact before it is recognized by position. There may already be people watching your example. Question 4. What habit do I need to build now so I can carry more later? Maybe it is preparation. Maybe it is discipline. Maybe it is emotional control. Maybe it is communication. Maybe it is follow through. Maybe it is time management. Maybe it is courage. Pick one. Do not try to change everything at once. Choose one habit and begin. Question 5. What attitude do I need to leave behind before I step into the next level? Maybe it is entitlement. Maybe it is comparison. Maybe it is fear. Maybe it is bitterness. Maybe it is impatience. Maybe it is insecurity. Maybe it is pride. Be honest, because what you refuse to deal with now may become heavier later. The next level does not automatically fix what is undeveloped in you. Sometimes the next level magnifies it. So do the work now. Segment 12. Practical challenge for the week. Here is the practical challenge for this episode. This week, choose one area where you can lead before you have to, not in a way that is pushing, not in a way that oversteps, not in a way that tries to take control, but in a way that adds value. Maybe you follow up on something that has been sitting too long. Maybe you encourage someone who has been carrying a heavy load. Maybe you prepare better for a meeting. Maybe you bring a solution instead of just naming a problem. Maybe you ask your leader, what can I take off your plate? Maybe you mentor someone who is newer than you. Maybe you take ownership of a mistake. Maybe you ask for feedback and actually apply it. Maybe you show up with a better attitude. Maybe you choose consistency in an area where you have been inconsistent. One action, one intentional step, because leadership growth is built through repeated intentional steps. Do not despise small beginnings. Small actions create patterns. Patterns create trust. Trust creates influence. Influence creates opportunity. And opportunity creates responsibility. That is how leadership grows. # segment 13, final teaching. The mindset of the next in line is not about impatience. It is not about saying, I should be in charge right now. It is not about pushing others aside. It is not about chasing status. It is not about demanding recognition. The mindset of the next in line says, I am willing to become the kind of person who can be trusted when the moment comes. That is different. It is preparation without arrogance, confidence without entitlement, ambition without selfishness, patience without passivity, humility without insecurity, service without resentment, growth without excuses. That is the mindset. And here is the encouraging part. You do not have to become that person overnight. You just have to begin becoming that person today. One choice at a time, one habit at a time, one conversation at a time, one act of ownership at a time, one moment of humility at a time, one opportunity to serve at a time, one response under pressure at a time. This is how leaders are formed, not just through big moments, but through daily decisions. So do not just wait for opportunity. Prepare for it. Lead where you are, serve where you are, grow where you are, learn where you are, build trust where you are. Because when the door opens, the person you have been becoming will walk through it. Closing. Thank you for listening to the *** South on Leadership podcast ***. This has been the Next in Line series. and today's episode was the mindset of the next in line. If this episode challenged you, encouraged you, or made you think of someone who is preparing for their next level of leadership, share it with them. And remember, leadership is not just about being next. It is about being ready. Until next time, keep growing, keep serving, and keep preparing for the responsibility ahead. This is South on Leadership. Music fades in for 10 to 15 seconds. Fade out. Hashtag short social media caption for this episode. Leadership does not start when the title arrives. It starts with the mindset, habits, humility, and preparation you build before anyone calls your name. New episode of the ** South on Leadership podcast, Next in Line series, **, the mindset of the next in line. Next episode to expand, episode 2. Leading yourself before leading others.